All right, hello everyone. I'm back. I wasn't really feeling well last week, so in today's video, let's just get right into it. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to take a look at the SP500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, large tech stocks, and the VIX. All right, we're going to start off with Apple. Nice and easy, nice and simple. What is Apple doing? It is at a level of resistance here, approaching 240. Nice and simple. Nothing to overcomplicate. This is a level of resistance. Clear cut. Multiple times we've touched this major fib level. This is it. This is a level of resistance. Nice and simple. If this 240 level is to be breached, then we have levels of resistance at 245, as you can see back here, and then 250. So this is the first major zone right here of resistance for Apple. Next is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA filled this entire gap down. It fell very dramatically over the past couple of days, and it reclaimed into this gap down right here, right? So now we're still holding above 170. 170 is a major level of support for NVIDIA. The overall market in the after hours is green as well. So we're going to need to see if NVIDIA can hold this 170 level, and if we can reclaim above 174 essentially on NVIDIA. AMD also holding the 160 level, acting as a level of support here. We're trying to hold on AMD. AMD is really trying its best to hold, okay? So pragmatically, NVIDIA and AMD are both trying to hold levels of support. Meta breaking above levels of resistance. We skyrocketed above 760. So we held 760. We skyrocketed above into the 780 level of resistance. That was a major level of resistance prior, and now it's still holding as a level of resistance. So Meta is right here, and essentially we were trading outside of the upper level of the Bollinger Bands. When we're trading outside of the upper level of the bands, it's a good indication that we should be returning back into the bands. That's essentially what happened on Meta, and it makes sense why we have a bit of a breather here on Meta. Netflix. So Netflix, we're holding above the 38.2% fib. This is a very important daily level, the 1220 level, right? So we had a big pullback, came back to 1200. Now we're back above 1225. So we have major resistance at 1240. Simple, honestly. So these are the levels. Things in general on Netflix should be bullish heading into the next couple of weeks. But the issue is that seasonality tends to be bearish, and this 1240 level is really trying to hold. So this huge pullback to the downside is not great. 1250. This whole area is going to be really important resistance on Netflix. Apple is at resistance. Meta is at resistance. NVIDIA and AMD are holding support. So Tesla, a couple of videos ago, well, actually in my last video, I was showing how 440 would be on the table, and we're basically almost there. So we were looking at Tesla down here. I was explaining how this was a bull flag. Everything was bullish on Tesla. Just remain bullish. All of these are good dip buying opportunities, and we ended up getting a huge rip to the upside. So now we're getting to the point where this would be the target, right? So this happened very quickly. And what's going on Tesla is we're trading outside of the upper bands. So essentially, this is clear cut overextension. Now we're getting to 430 resistance, and then 440 was the major level of the major target to the upside that I was mentioning. So Tesla, a huge move already occurred on Tesla. A huge move already occurred on a lot of these large tech stocks. So after Tesla ripped almost 23%, the market is, not responding how you would assume. Amazon is consolidating above 230. Obviously, 230 is major support here. It's not doing too much. This is not, the most important, it's not really showing a huge move. This isn't very bullish. This is not a bullish setup on Amazon. Yes, we're holding support, but this is not a bullish setup. This is generally a very bearish setup, in my opinion. Microsoft. So I was mentioning how Microsoft holding this level of support was actually a pretty solid risk reward that we should have gotten a bounce. That's exactly what ended up happening as well. We did get a bounce on Microsoft, and now we are above 510. So 510 is now holding as a level of support. All in all, these large tech stocks are a bit lackluster. We could also take a look at Google. So Google is at a level of resistance, but in general, all these tech stocks are either at support, barely holding on, or they're pulling back off of a level of resistance. So, this dovish Fed, basically he was dovish on labor markets, and basically when that occurs, that's a good sign for the stock market, which is why the overall market in the after hours are green. So now, with that being said, the overall market should continue to be green in the after hours unless something occurs. Crypto market is also green as well. Bitcoin hit 117. In general, crypto is green, right? Solana is ripping. Ethereum is also ripping. All of these are very, very bullish signs for the overall market. And also the VIX started to bleed. So the VIX began to have a bit of a red day. And it's important to monitor the VIX because it has an inverse relationship to the market. So when the VIX drops, then it means the market is doing well. So this is clearly not a really great sign for the VIX. There should be more downside. And if there's more downside on the VIX, that means there should be more upside on the overall market. So a lot of things happened today. VIX contracts expired. We had the Fed meeting. The overall market as a whole began to show a lot of bullishness in the after hours, but also some of these stocks are getting a bit overheated. So we could continue to rise, but it's just the market is taking turns on which stocks are going to lift the market up. And in general, it's just sort of, the stocks are just going to continue rallying. And they're taking turns rallying. We're getting a lot of inflow from institutions. But towards the end of September, seasonality-wise, the market should be getting a pullback. But for now, that's currently it. Like, pragmatically looking at all of these large tech stocks and all of the just targets that are almost being met on a lot of these stocks, that's how much more room is there to go. Is Tesla going to go to 550 on this move? I don't know, but it could go to 600, and then 1,000 can be on the table. But just when things like this are already occurring, it's it shouldn't really continue in this veracity, in my opinion. But regardless, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with the regular setup and everything. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. Take care.